Am I the asshole for donating my roommate's entire $8,000 anime figure collection after he insulted my girlfriend? This is a throwaway account, because my former roommate is extremely active online and would immediately recognize this story if he saw it. I am a 26-year-old man. For almost 3 years, I lived with Mark, who is 27. We originally met through a mutual friend during college and got along reasonably well in the beginning. He is the stereotypical type of person who owns dozens of anime figures and frequently says that real people could never compare to his waifus. His half of the apartment was usually kept reasonably clean. He always paid rent on time, and he mostly stayed in his room. The issues began when my girlfriend, Mia, who is 25, started spending more nights at our place. Mia is a perfectly normal person. She enjoys anime from time to time and plays video games casually. But she has never been interested in collecting expensive figures. She thinks spending hundreds of dollars on a single statue is interesting, but completely unreasonable. Mark strongly disliked having her in what he considered his living space. At first, the comments were subtle and passive-aggressive. Remarks about normies invading the sanctuary. Later, they became more direct whenever Mia was actually present. The incident that finally pushed me over the edge happened approximately 2 months ago. Mia and I were sitting together on the couch watching the 3rd season of Jujutsu Kaisen. Mark walked out of his bedroom, saw us sitting close together, made an exaggerated sound of disgust, and said loudly enough for both of us to hear, "Wow." Trading a premium 1/4 scale Asuka Langley figure for a budget real-life waifu. That is certainly a choice, brother. Mia tried to laugh it off initially. I could not. I told him very firmly to watch what he says. He gave a smug smile, replied, "Just stating facts," and returned to his room. That same night, Mia cried in the bathroom for a long time. She was not crying because she felt insecure about herself. She was crying because she felt deeply humiliated in a place that was supposed to feel like home for both of us. Afterward, she asked me why I continued living with someone who treated her that way. I did not have a satisfying answer. That was when I decided to act. For months, Mark had been bragging about his so-called investment-grade collection. According to him, the total value was over $8,000. The collection included rare figures from Fate series, Neon Genesis Evangelion, several limited edition Nendoroids, and a few high-end Garage Kit statues. He kept everything on specially built glass shelves with perfect LED lighting and inside a humidity-controlled display cabinet. I knew 3 important facts. First, he had accepted a new job in Seattle and would be moving in 6 weeks. Second, he intended to ship the entire collection himself because he believed professional movers would not handle the pieces with proper care. Third, while he was obsessive about the figures themselves, he was disorganized about almost everything else in his life. I waited until he left for a 3-day anime convention. The morning after he departed, I carefully removed every single figure from the shelves. I photographed each one from multiple angles, wrote detailed descriptions including series, character, scale, release year, condition notes, and whether the original box was available. I even included photographs of authenticity cards when they existed. Then, I created a very professional-looking document that listed every item. After that, I posted the entire collection in several places. A local Buy Nothing group on Facebook, a few large anime collector Discord servers, and one very active subreddit dedicated to figure trading. Every single post used the same title: Free to a good home, complete anime figure collection. Serious collectors only. These pieces have sentimental value. It ends the same message. Hello everyone, my brother is moving across the country for work and unfortunately cannot take his entire collection with him. He asked me to find good homes for the figures, since shipping them would be too dangerous. First come, first served. Local pickup only in our city. Serious inquiries only, please. I attached the full catalogue document and provided a temporary phone number. Within 47 minutes, the first person arrived. She was a polite 38-year-old woman who owns a small anime-themed cafe. She took 14 figures, including a very expensive Grails version of Saber Alter. She became emotional when she saw everything in person. Next came a group of university students who had pooled their money together, even though everything was free, and even brought pizza for the people waiting in line. They took the complete Evangelion set. By the end of the day, only 8 figures remained. An elderly gentleman, probably around 70 years old, arrived in an old car and carefully selected the last few Nendoroids. He explained that his granddaughter loved the small figures, and he wanted to surprise her. I kept nothing for myself, not a single piece. Mark returned home on Sunday evening. He opened the door, stepped inside, looked at the empty shelves, and froze. After several long seconds, he made a strange, strangled sound that was somewhere between a scream and a wounded animal. "Where are my waifus?" I told him the complete truth. I explained that every figure had been given to new owners who promised to care for them properly. I showed him the grateful messages people had sent me. One young woman even recorded a short video of her little sister hugging a Rem Nendoroid as though it were a stuffed toy. Mark began to cry, real ugly crying. Then the crying turned to shouting. Then he threatened to call the police and have me arrested for theft. I remained calm and said, "You have told me many times that your collection means more to you than any real human relationship ever could. So I treated your collection the same way you treat everything else in your life, as something disposable whenever it becomes inconvenient. Consider this my final contribution toward 3 years of constant passive-aggressive behaviour." He did call the police. The officer who arrived was surprisingly relaxed about the situation. I explained everything clearly and showed him the original posts, the messages from recipients, and the detailed catalogue. I also had before and after photographs of the shelves, complete with timestamps. The officer asked Mark, "Did this man receive payment from you to dispose of your property?" Mark answered, "No, but he knew I never wanted them gone." The officer turned to me. "Approximately how much would you estimate the total value to be?" I replied, "He always claimed the collection was worth around $8,000. The officer looked back at Mark and said, "Sir, if you wish to treat this as theft, you would need to file a civil claim in small claims court for the full amount. You will have to provide receipts, proof of ownership, current market value appraisals, and explain why you left thousands of dollars worth of valuables in the care of someone you obviously did not trust while you were away for 3 days. Mark became completely silent. The officer eventually left after advising us both to handle the matter like mature adults. Mark moved out 2 weeks earlier than planned. He did not say goodbye. He simply placed the apartment keys on the kitchen counter with a single sticky note that read, "Enjoy your normal life." Mia officially moved in with me last week. We are converting Mark's old bedroom into a small home gym. I continue to receive thank you messages from the people who received the figures. One man sends me updated photographs of his display shelf every month as tribute to the person who saved my hobby budget. So I ask again, am I the arsehole